Hey everyone, how's it going? So what am I working on now? Well, I am working on this disaster I've created in my garage, my own space here. As you know, it's been almost a year since I've been in this garage actually doing something. And of course, stuff gets packed in there because I haven't been using it. My fault completely. I can't blame anybody else. My fault completely. But I got to start getting it straightened out because what I want to do is I got that 350 from this Camaro that I want to put on an engine stand. I'm going to make a separate video in regards to that. But I'm going to make a walk around video here real quick just so you could see what I'm dealing with and the mess I've created. And yes, I am a pack rat, and yes, I do create a mess. So let me just show you real quick, starting at the front of the garage, back of the garage, closest to the garage door. How's that? So here we are, closest to the garage door at the back of the Camaro. Here I have a 5.3. There I have a bunch of tools and junk. Here I have a bunch of junk. There I have a bunch of junk on the Camaro. My oil. Here I have another 5.3. There's the rear end that I gotta cut up or narrow. I'm gonna do that. I showed you the plasma cutter. I am gonna do that still, just haven't gotten to it. There I got a set of 5.3 heads, miscellaneous stuff all over the place. Stuff that was in the trunk of the police car. Thank you, Big Brother Bob. There's a 6-liter and a 5.3. There's that 5.7 engine stand, engine hoist, toolboxes, hood for the Camaro. There's a 6-liter that I'm going to build. That's a good 6-liter right there. Here's the Camaro. There's a bunch of junk on the floor for the Camaro. There's the transmission out of the Camaro. You remember when I pulled it out? That was technically the last time I've been in this garage doing any work, was when I pulled that transmission out. If you remember, I pulled that transmission out, and I think that's when we discovered the termites. And at that point, when I discovered the termites, let me just switch up here. At that point, when I discovered the termites, that's when we had to pack everything towards the center of the garages. Never got back to doing anything. Hang on one second. Never got to straighten anything out. But anyway, this video in particular, I wanted to tell you a quick story. If you recall in that last video that I made where I was talking about parts and warranties and how long should parts last, stuff like that, I had said I was going to tell you a story about an incident I had when I had my own shop and customer supplied parts. So a bunch of people reached out to me and said, let us know the story. We're curious on what the story was. I realized I got a glare in the Molari curly in the back there. So what had happened was, this was about I had my shop from 1989 through 1997. And then I lost the lease. At that point is when I started working for a Chrysler dealer. I started working in White Plains, New York, and after about a year and a half there, I moved up to Carmel, New York, to a Chrysler dealer up there. And that's where I had stayed for 21 years, basically. So, but when I had my shop, it was about 1991-ish, something like that. Now in New York State, I don't know how other states operate, but in New York State, when you have a registered repair shop, the DMV will come around, especially if you do inspections. If you do inspections, the DMV will do sneak inspections on you. They'll have like a bait car come in that shouldn't pass inspection because they want to see, are you going to pass it for inspection? Are you going to do a proper inspection? Stuff like that. And what they did it to me several times. I got caught one time passing a car for inspection that had it was a Nissan Pathfinder. It was an old Nissan Pathfinder with the square or the rectangular headlights, the glass headlights where you could change the whole headlight assembly. And what they did was they actually installed them upside down, okay? They installed them upside down. I didn't realize it. I never put the headlight aimer on the vehicle. I just basically turned the headlights on and flashed them against the wall, and everything seemed to work fine. I didn't pay all that much attention to it. In New York State, that was a no-no back then. I don't know about now. They may have changed the rules, but back then that was a no-no. Even though the light shined on the wall, the headlight was upside down. If you put the headlight aimer on it, the glass bulbs used to have these little dimples that the headlight aimer would actually align itself to. That's how you aim the headlights. So anyway, I wound up getting in trouble for that, and I got my license suspended for 30 days. Okay, not a big deal. The inspector, the same inspector, then brings the same vehicle back to me for a follow-up inspection to see what I would do. And I looked at him, I go, you know I know who you are. And he goes, doesn't matter. He goes, are you going to do the inspection? I said, sure. So I did the inspection, and I said, hey, same thing. The headlights were in upside down. I said, hey, I can't put the headlight aimer on there because your headlights are in upside down. So he goes, okay, so what are you going to do? I said, I can either fail you for the inspection or I can straighten out the problem. So he says, how much to straighten out the problem? I said, I tell you what. I said, I'll straighten out the headlights for free just to get you to pass inspection. So he says, okay, go ahead. So of course I'm sweating it like, did I miss something else? I never missed something else. It was fine. And that's the only time I ever got in trouble for that. But makes you think like of the little things that you might overlook that you think are not important. But anyway, so the point of the story was parts. Now the DMV in New York, they will stand behind repair shops to make sure that customers are not taking advantage of the repair shops in terms of, hey, you did a repair on my car and you didn't do it right, and I'm not paying you. DMV will stand behind the repair shop, but they will investigate you in the same time. So if you did everything correct, they will stand behind you. However, if you did things wrong, they will stand behind the customer, the consumer. That's what the DMV was there for up in New York. And at first, when I first started a business, I was like, oh man, these guys, they are, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not like what happens when you get a thorn in your finger and you get that little prick in your finger, you know? That's what they were. That's what I thought originally, but they weren't. They were actually really good people, and they looked out for the consumer. If the consumer was right, they stood behind the consumer. If the shop was right, they stood behind the shop. And I had a case where a customer came to me with a Ford Fairmont, and she needed a steering rack. I don't recall the reason for needing a steering rack, but she needed a steering rack. So I gave her a price on a steering rack. She didn't like my price. So she said, what if I get a used steering rack? That's fine. You want to get a used steering rack and I'll put it in? That's fine. I said, just understand there's no warranty. What do you mean there's no warranty? And that's a question I always get. What do you mean there's no warranty? There's no warranty. If you supply the part, why am I warrantying the part? I'll warranty my labor. If I make a mistake and I install it incorrectly, I'll take care of the labor. But if there's a problem with the part that you supply, I'm not covering that. Okay. I put a steering rack in, and my shop, actually, we did alignments too. So I put a steering rack in, did an alignment, a tow and go. I sent the car down the road. Whatever the price was, 150 bucks maybe. I don't know. Like I said, this was early 90s. So about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later, I don't recall, lady comes in and says, something's wrong with the steering rack. Okay. She says, I have to add fluid to it. Okay. You did something wrong. I need you to fix it. Well, hold on. I did something wrong. Let's find out what the actual problem is first. Could I have messed up putting a line back on? Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll fix it if that's the problem. So I check it out, and one of the bellows was filled with fluid, filled to the brim with fluid, busting out with fluid. That's where your fluid's going. There was no external leak that you could see. I popped a little hole in the boot, pour it out. Okay. I topped off the fluid. You need to replace the rack. Okay. And then she's like looking at me like it's my fault. So, well, you're going to have to get another rack. Well, you installed the rack. I said, yeah, we went over this, and here's the paper that you signed. And there, everything was handwritten back then. Here's the repair order that you signed. Understanding that there's no warranty because you supplied the part. So she went back to, it was It was in Mamaroneck, and I don't remember what the name of the wrecking yard was. Was it Mamaroneck Auto Wreckers? Because there was a Blood Brothers Auto Wreckers too, but I don't remember where they were located. They might have been Elmsford. But anyway, I'm going off. So, next thing I know, I have Department of Motor Vehicles, one of their inspectors shows up at my shop. And he says, I need to speak to you. And he actually serves me papers. I need to speak to you about Mrs. Such and Such's car. Okay. So I explained the situation, my end, what I did, what I saw. And I showed him the paper. He's like, okay, that's fine. So then I said, okay, so what's the next step? He says, I'm going to take her car and I'm going to look it over and I want to see, because if it's something that you did, you're responsible for this. Okay. It just so happens now in New York, what they used to do, and I had it happen at my shop, they would come in and say, hey, can we use your shop? We need to do an inspection on a car that was repaired somewhere else. And they would bring the car in. Of course, you had to agree to allow them in your shop. They would come and use your shop to do an inspection on a previous repair done somewhere else where somebody was complaining about the repair. So they actually took that car to a friend's shop down the street, a guy that I knew very well. And I used to go to him, like if I needed a special tool that I didn't have, I would go to him to borrow a tool. He would come to me to borrow a tool, stuff like that. And his name was Joey. So him and we used to go back and forth all the time. Like if my inspection machine was down, I would go to him. If his inspection machine was down, he would come to us, stuff like that. And he also did towing, so I would use his towing service. But anyway, they actually brought the car to him. And I had told him about the situation. Now, the DMV won't tell you what shop it is. So like if they brought in, I don't know, a Chevy Nova into my shop to do an inspection and to see about work that another shop did, they would never tell me who the customer was or who the other shop was. However, when they brought it into his shop, this Ford Fairmont, I had already told him about the situation with that customer. So Joey already knew about it. So when they left, he called me up. He says, hey, he goes, this Ford Fairmont came in, the state inspector guy brought it in, and he was checking it out. He goes, was this yours? And he described to me, I said, yeah, it was mine. He goes, yeah, because the state inspector had me come over and verify what I was seeing, or what he was seeing, and I verified, yeah, it was the steering rack itself that was leaking. It was nothing that was done by the other repair shop. So next thing I know, the guy comes over to me, the state inspector guy, this is a couple days later, he comes over to me, and he says, I need you to sign whatever paperwork. We finished our findings. You'll get something in the mail. Okay. 30 days later, I get a thing in the mail saying it was nothing that I did wrong. Everything was fine. And now the customer did owe me. Oh, that was the other thing. The customer had paid with a credit card, and they stopped payment on the credit card on that. And back then, if you remember, it would take 7 to 10 days for them to stop payment on a credit card. So they had stopped 7 to 10 days. I think you could even do it up to 30 days. But they bounced the payment back. So now all of a sudden I get a thing from DMV saying that I was in the clear and she owed me the money. Okay. So I figured, let me give it some time. I'm just going to let it settle. I'm not going to be that guy to call her immediately and say, told you so, come pay me. I'm going to give it a little time. So sure enough, it was about a week later, maybe, all of a sudden here she comes pulling in, and she has this mug, this face, like just like a beaten down and unbelievably mad face. And she comes in, she pays me in singles. And she says, I'm paying you in cash. Can you save me the tax? I said, no. I said, we don't do that. I said, I do everything legit. So no, I don't do that. My price is good enough to begin with, better than any other shop. So no, I'm not going to save you taxes, pay me cash. Never did stuff like that. So she pays me, and she turns around, she walks out. I never saw her again. She was angry that she was wrong. But it's like, hey, it happens. But there it is. It took a grand total of, if you think about it, it took a grand total of like 2+ months before I actually got paid that $150 for that job that I did way back when. But it happens. It happens. What are you going to do? But just the point of this is, hey, if you're supplying your own parts, just be mindful. You could be responsible if the part fails. So anyway, that's it. Just wanted to share that with you. So, all right. Hopefully you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, have a great day. Keep wrenching. Oh, and I'm about to make a video on mounting that Chevy 350 to an engine stand. That's actually my next thing. That's my first step in straightening this disaster out. Because now I'm going to be able to start working in a garage again. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Keep wrenching. I forgot my clicker.